That was a really good crack. Sounded really clear and crisp in my headphones. Welcome back, everybody. Episode 16, I believe, by myself today. It is October 6th. Happy birthday to my dad. My dad turned 66 today. We're in October, so deer season is, I'd say, getting pretty serious at this point. Seen a lot of bucks going down, and hopefully going to be jumping in on that here pretty soon. The business I work for we're in our last week of the season, so it'll be hunting season after that for me. I don't really get out much in September or first couple weeks of October just because it's kind of the way life works. So, but I'll be hunting hard for the next, month and a half, 2 months, and hopefully we'll have some success. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the episode. First, let's talk about our sponsor, Anywind Field Spray. Thank you to Jake Wallingford and Ashley Wallingford. They are the creators and owners of Anywind Field Spray. It is the absolute best field spray I've ever used. Not just saying that, it's just literally because it's the only one I've ever used that I feel has actually worked. And it works in a lot of different ways on synthetic products and bacteria base. It just kills everything. So if you're looking for the best field spray you can find, go check it out. You can buy it at the Omaha Shields, or you can buy it at their website, huntanywind.com. They also are on Instagram and Facebook. Go check out their pages. They have so many crazy success stories on like some of the craziest situations that you would just never expect, to not get busted. And for some reason, people just aren't getting busted. I mean, just crazy stories. He's got so many people messaging him and, calling him and just saying, I just can't believe it. And I don't know what the secret sauce is. They have the secret sauce to it, which is great. I just know it works. I used it all last year and never got busted once. And I felt like I was going to get busted all the time by these deer that were right underneath me, but never did. So make sure you check that out. Great product. Like I said, it's just something different about it, and it just works. Just truly works. So thank you to Anywind Field Spray, and we'll go ahead and move on. All right, so I got a few different things I'm going to talk about today. I don't have anything super specific that I really want to dive into. It's kind of hard right now because, we're coming into, the good time of deer season, and I just don't have a whole lot to talk about because I haven't been hunting, and I'm not going to sit here and talk about how I'm the best hunter in the world because I'm not. So I'm not going to be out here just, trying to give everybody all the tips and tricks on, how I think this is the best way to do it, or I'm the best hunter, because it's just stupid. And nobody wants to hear that. We hear that from just about everybody else in the industry, all the content creators and people. I mean, are there good hunters out there? Absolutely. 100%. Am I a good hunter? Sometimes. Am I not sometimes? Yeah. I think that's how it is with anybody and everybody. I think there's a lot of people that act like they are the best hunters that honestly aren't very good at hunting too. So I'm not going to do that type of stuff. First thing today I was going to talk about, not really talk about, but I actually had a couple comments on Spotify. I didn't see these for a while, so I was just going to go ahead and cover those real quick, just to kind of interact, I guess, a little bit. They're both from Joseph Raymond, I believe is how it is. Ramon. Ramon. I don't know exactly for sure, but one of them was on episode of me talking about, honestly, just that was when I was talking about deer management and like the deer numbers in all the different states. That was episode 8. I went over a lot of different statistics from all the states in the area, kind of the whole Midwest kind of area, and then just talk about Nebraska as well. He said Nebraska Game and Parks doesn't really do deer population surveys. As far as a 4-point buck minimum or 1 buck state, I don't think either will help with creating trophy bucks, simply because of how Nebraska Game and Parks manages the herd, which is more along the lines of appease the people who are most vocal, which I thought was interesting. I was actually a really good comment, I thought. It said, which recently has been farmers, which is why they've had so many tags. Getting rid of shooting out of vehicles would do more to help than either of those options. I will agree that getting people to stop shooting out of vehicles would make a big difference. In the area that we hunt, which is like south central, southwestish Nebraska, when we first started hunting out there in that area, the farmer that we hunt on his property, when we first met out there with him, he drove us around, was showing us all the different, all his pieces of land, so we knew where we could and couldn't hunt. And he's like, so how do you guys hunt? And we're like, oh, we sit in blinds or sit in tree stands, that type of thing. And he's like, oh, okay. He's like, yeah, pretty much everybody out here just drives around in their trucks until they see one and then shoots it. And I was like, all right. And it's like, that's interesting. And sure enough, all the time that we've hunted out there, I'm sure there are people that do sit in stands, but there are a lot of people that just drive around until they see a deer and shoot it. So it is really interesting. We've even ran into people hunting where they're like, even coming onto the property that we're hunting, and we're like, you guys have permission here? And they're like, oh yeah, we live here. We know everybody here. We can hunt anywhere. And it's like, all right, well, maybe. But yeah, as far as 4-point minimum or $1 state, I'm sure it would help in some aspects. I don't know how much. Obviously, I talked about that in that episode 8. I do think people shooting out of vehicles is definitely a big issue. There's also people that probably still spotlight and do stupid stuff like that too, because let's be honest, it's happened a lot in this state, and there's been some crackdowns on a few of them, even some outfitters in this state over the last few years. But yeah, so I would agree with you. I still think I don't know. It's tough to say. I don't know if you had to do one, if you had to do a 4-point minimum or a $1 state, I don't know which one would do more personally, because I just don't know how many people will actually shoot $2 each year. That's a number I'd like to see. How many people shoot $2 every year in state of Nebraska? I've only done it once or maybe twice in my life. But I'm a little pickier on the deer I shoot, I guess. I'm not just shooting a buck just to shoot a buck. So I don't know how everybody else is, Yeah, I don't know. I don't know which one would do better, if it would even make a difference. I'm not really sure. Also talking about who has the most vocal voice, which has been the farmers of recent, which is what you say. Yeah, I would agree with that. Obviously there's been some interesting things that have happened over the last number of years, especially even with like the elk. I don't know if you guys remember in Nebraska a couple of years ago, they gave out all those, it was like a crazy amount of elk depredation tags that they sold in the summertime. It was the strangest thing. And so anybody in state or out of state could buy an elk tag, and it was only during the summer, but like the units that they picked were units where there's no public land. Only all the elk were on private land, and none of the farmers in that area would let anybody hunt. So it was kind of a weird, like, okay, you guys want to get rid of these elk, but also you don't want to let anybody come hunt on your land. And I think there was kind of a battle with that between like the, I don't know if it was the legislature or the game and parks and the farmers or whatever. It was just a weird kind of like, we're just going to, screw with you guys. Cause I think essentially maybe the farmers wanted the tags so they could sell the tags, but that's not the way that game and parks was going to do it. It was a weird situation. All in all, I think there was only one elk that got killed, and I think they sold, a few hundred tags or something like that, but only one elk that even got killed during that whole time from what I heard. So yeah, I do think it is tough with the farmers. Farmers are doing what they got to do to make a living, but at the same time, they are tearing out a lot of habitat. One of the things I was actually going to mention today, kind of leading into that, the area that we hunt, we have a couple spots out in this one area. And one of them, had essentially had a stretch of about 2 miles on this creek line. Now the creek line it's a dried up creek. It's been dried up for 50 plus years. Got dammed up by somebody way back like 50 years ago out in, I don't know if it was Colorado or just way western Nebraska. I don't know. It was some weird situation. So the creek's dry, no water in it. So there's some areas, so it's got trees along the whole thing, but it's not like it's like a great timber area or anything like that. So there's just not a lot of great cover for the deer there in general. Otherwise it's just ag fields on both sides, and then you get into the hills. But we did have one area a couple sections that actually just got sold this last year at auction. So we lost part of that, probably about half a mile out of the 2 miles, which was okay, whatever. I mean, it was a nice spot, but just couldn't hunt that anymore, which is fine. And then went out there this summer to put a couple cameras out and do whatever else. And there was another section that hadn't been sold, and there was a really big, nice like timber area that was a really good bedding area. Like we pretty much stayed out of there and just hunted around the edges of it because it was really thick, but really good cover and bedding. There was always deer in there. And I got out there and they had tore out all the trees. They were all gone. I mean, it was a lot of trees and a lot of big trees completely tore out just so they could get it all leveled out, and they're planted corn or whatever. I mean, so they're just planting more crops. So that was a huge section of habitat that was lost for not just for us the hunters, but also for the deer, and as far as deer staying in the area. And that was just one of the sections. There was another section on the other side of the creek that was a really nice bedding area that I actually shot a really nice buck out of a number of years back. And we called it the island because it was just like this island, like really nice long island of trees in the middle of this ag field. And they tore all that out too. So that's gone too. So we lost 2 really good pieces there. So we've essentially lost about a full mile of the area that we hunted now because it's just not really even huntable. And I mean, you're just sitting a field edge hoping that deer are traveling through. There's not enough habitat and cover for them to really stay in that area now. So that really sucks. I mean, that's just another piece of habitat, for trying to keep your deer population and keep deer in your area completely gone. And that's never coming back. So that is a tough thing. I don't know, I think it happens around the state a fair amount. And I don't know how much. I just know it really affected our area. But I'm sure it happens in other areas of the state. They're just trying to farm as much ground as they can. And I get it because they got to farm a lot of ground to, make money. Like farming's a big operation. I've talked to a couple people recently that we know that, farm or, they're in the family farming business. And, he was telling us, he's like, yeah, we're pretty much a $2 million operation. And they farm 3,500 acres. This was over in Iowa. So it was like a $2 million operation, and they farmed 3,500 acres. And he's like, yeah, we had a pretty decent year last year, and they still came out $200,000 in the hole. So it's like, I mean, it's crazy. Like, I don't know all the ins and outs of farming, so I'm not going to pretend I do. But it's just crazy to hear that, farming 3,500 acres and still basically didn't break even, lost money, so I don't know all of it, but so they're doing their best. They're trying to do what they can to make money, provide for their family. But it also, definitely can affect the hunters and really suck at times. So hopefully we don't lose any more ground, but we'll work with what we got and do our best. Yeah. Let's see. His next comment, same guy. He was talking about how I hadn't done a podcast in a while. Yeah, I know. Sorry, buddy. Thanks for listening also, by the way. I do appreciate it, and thanks for the encouragement. Just talking about some other people I could try and get on here, and I'm working on that. I do have a few people I've talked to, and I got a few people in mind. I'm going to try and get on here, have some more fun conversations. So appreciate your comments, Joseph or Joe or Joey, whatever you go by. Appreciate it. Obviously, just talked about the Nebraska deer habitats and farmers. Like I said, I'm not going to complain about it too much. They can do what they want, but it makes a difference and can affect your total state herd. But we're going to move on from that. This year, I'm running right now, and this is kind of weird. For the last probably 5-6 years, where I hunt. Me and my buddy Teddy, we hunt out there together a lot. So we both run, we've always ran trail cameras, and every year we've gotten more and more. And, then we switched to cell cams, and, we were running up to, like 9 cameras out there at one point. And right now we have 2 running. So it's going to be an interesting year. And it's kind of refreshing, to be honest. I love cell cams and getting pictures, of deer. It's just so much fun, even though you're not there hunting them. Like I just love getting those pictures and seeing the deer and seeing what's around. So I don't think I'll ever not do that. And when I get out there, in a week or two, I'll turn on some more cameras. But I'm kind of looking forward to this season just for the fact that like I haven't really had any good bucks on camera. Like normally every year we have 2 or 3 bucks and it's like, okay, these are the best bucks we have. And some years they're really nice. Some years they're just like pretty good bucks. Like, but this year I honestly couldn't tell you I have a single deer on camera since I've had them turned on, those 2 cameras turned on in June or May, something like that. I haven't had a single buck where I've been like, oh, that's a nice buck. Not a single one. So it's going to be a really interesting year. I feel like a lot of the times in past years, we usually have a pretty good amount of good bucks through the summer. And then come fall, once we get to October, they tend to disappear. I think that's when they kind of break off and move into into other areas, And I'm kind of excited because I feel like this year is going to be kind of the opposite. We don't have like any nice bucks in the area, but we have does. And since there isn't any like big nice bucks or like maybe dominant looking bucks, now I'm kind of hopeful that that's going to mean we're going to get more bucks that are going to move into our area. So I'm kind of hoping for that. And I feel like there's a chance that's going to happen. We don't have I wouldn't say we have great deer numbers right now, but again, only 2 cameras running. And we're affected a lot by the crops in the area that we hunt. The crops every year, it's always because we don't do any food plots and we don't do anything with the farmers as far as like, having them like, pay them to leave some crops. We don't do any of that stuff. So we're essentially just based on what it is every year. And the years that we have corn, we always have more deer. Just always. It's just the way it is. We don't have a ton of corn this year. We got a little bit. But crops make a big difference for us in the area we hunt. That's just how it's always been. But yeah, I'm excited to honestly go out and just hunt without just being like focused on 2 or 3 bucks. Because every year I think I get in my head that I'm like, okay, I got to kill one of these bucks. Like, these are my target bucks. You give them stupid names and do stupid stuff like that. And like, yeah, this is my number 1 target buck or my number 2 target buck. It's like, I don't have any this year. And I couldn't be more excited because it's just like, what's going to come by? What's going to show up? And obviously some stuff may show up on camera and then I'll start to get excited. But like, I'm going in with a different mindset and it's more just, I'm not just going to go sit in an area where I've had pictures of a deer. I really plan on going in and trying to see if I can find, fresh sign. First of all, find some rubs, some scrapes. But just, be in the right areas and just kind of see what comes by. It's almost like when I was younger, just hunting public land with a rifle. Like we showed up to the public land every year and you had no clue what was going to walk out in front of you. So I'm pretty excited about that. So definitely going to be hunting a little bit different this year. Definitely going to be trying to make sure I find some good rubs and scrapes and try and get on those. And it worked out last year for Ted. That's what he did. He ended up shooting a really nice buck it was a buck that hadn't been around at all and then showed up right at the beginning of the rut, end of October, and ended up killing it he found this nice fresh scrape and a rub like right next to each other, sat up, I think 15, 20 yards from it. And sure enough, came right down and smoked him. So I'm going to kind of do the same thing and not rely on the cameras and just go hunt, go have fun. So I'm pretty excited about that. All right. Next thing we're going to talk about, this may seem kind of like a odd time to do this, but I was going to talk about deer season prep. Because obviously in Nebraska, we've been in deer season since September 1st. It's October 6th. I'm shooting this. But for me, like I said, I don't really hunt at all, really, until second, third week of October. So I've still kind of been basically doing the prep stuff leading up to, right now. So I'm just going to kind of talk a little bit about what I do. Like I said, I'm not an expert. Um, don't doesn't mean I don't know something, but I'm not going to claim I know everything. I'm not going to be the guy that's like, yeah, you got to do this, you got to do that. This is the best. This is the best way. This is the best product. You got to have this. No, I don't really care. Just going to tell you what I do, what I use, what I'm doing, and you guys can let me know on that. All right, so first thing I'm doing is shooting my bow. Obviously, I've been shooting my bow a fair amount, more than I have in the past. I was starting to tinker with it a little bit, which may not be a great idea at this time. I was considering going back up in poundage to like 75 pounds. So I did that for a little bit. Decided it's just too much. It's not like I can't shoot it. I can shoot it just fine, but it just wasn't as comfortable, and just wasn't feeling right. I figured out that you could shoot the highest poundage you want, but I think more importantly when you're bow hunting, it's about being comfortable. Like, how long can you hold that bow? When you draw back, is it comfortable? Can you draw back slow? So I kind of was messing around with that because I had my bow set up at 65 pounds, which I could go up to 70. I've shot 70 before, and that's been pretty decent. So I went up to 75. Really just wasn't very comfortable with it. And honestly, I don't know what it is, but so I shoot the Mathews Verdicts is what I still have. And when I have it at 65 pounds with the 85% let off, I can hold that bow all day. But when I go up to 75 pounds and still with the 85% let off, draw back, no problem. But it just feels like it's just so jumpy. Like it just wants to take off on me. So, and partially that's must be me just not holding back strong enough, but it's not like I don't feel like I'm not holding back that, like it's not hard, but it just feels like the bow just wants to take off. Like it just wants to jump. And so it just wasn't comfortable. So I went back down to 65 pounds, which is what I was already set at with my sight tape and, and all that and my arrows. So I'm just sticking with that. And, you want to call me weak, that's fine. 65 pounds isn't that impressive, I know. But again, just all about comfort to me. Just want to be comfortable and be able to make the shot when the shot's needed. So, other thing I've been doing is I've been exercising, which may sound dumb. I'm going full Josh Bomar, whitetail fit, no. Just honestly, just been getting in shape in general. Every summer I get out of shape because I get lazy, because I work a lot, and then I also golf a lot, and I focus more of my off time in the mornings to go practice golf because I like being good at golf. So I just kind of skipped the gym. So kind of did that all summer. So paying the price a little bit for that, but back in the gym. I've been back now in the gym since, I guess, basically beginning of September. So a little over a month, but lifting really hard. Been in the gym. I'm playing basketball once or twice a week, doing a lot of stretching, doing a lot of leg stuff, just doing a lot of stuff, just getting healthy, honestly. And I feel really good, so much better. So anybody that isn't doing some sort of exercise for deer season, because we all know you'll never know how really out of shape you are until you have to drag a deer out of the woods. That's immediately how you'll know how out of shape you are. We all know that. But just doing some exercise, I think, is just good. It's good for your overall health in general, and I think it's a good thing for deer season. Whether you're spot and stalking, you're hiking, whatever you're doing, it's good to be in shape, especially if you're chasing a deer and you got to be in a weird position, and if you're not flexible or you're all stiff, it's tough to do. Stay in that position. I don't know. I just think overall, I think exercise is just a good thing to do. So I've been doing that, and I feel really good, and I'm going to stick with it. So excited for that. Next thing I'm doing, done this a little bit already. Check all my hunting gear and all my hunting clothes. Just making sure I got everything I need. I feel like I pretty much have everything I need already. I'm actually going to shoot a video for our Drawn Outdoors page, going over my entire camera setup and basically what I carry into the woods when I'm self-filming, pack I use. I'm going to do all that stuff. So that'll be going up on the channel here probably within the week. If you're interested. If you're not, no big deal. If you're not a filmer, it's not a big deal. I love filming, so film all my hunts, even though it doesn't always work out, but I just enjoy the filming aspect of it. So checking all that stuff, seeing if there's anything I need to get last second. I feel like I have so much stuff, and yet every year I feel like there's always something I'm like, I really could use this or need this. Probably drives my wife nuts. I'm sure it really does, but I don't know. But there's also something about getting new gear at the beginning of a hunting season. There's just something exciting about that. Just getting something new, whether it's something small, something big. It's just an exciting thing, adding something to your arsenal, or just to get something small and new, just kind of excites you. It gets you ready for the deer season. It gets you pretty pumped up. So, yeah. So, yeah, get my pack all organized, figuring out what stuff I'm going to carry. I've gone through so many different kind of things now, especially because I do film like a few different packs and like what I do need to bring, what I don't need to bring. Basically I just try and simplify everything, especially because for the most part, I pretty much saddle hunt now. And I used to make fun of saddle hunters more than anybody in the world. I thought it was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. I thought they were so stupid. And I was like, I'll never do that. And then I got in a saddle and I was like, this really isn't that bad. And then I figured out like how much less stuff you got to carry into the woods and how quick and fast you can get up into a stand or up into a tree. And so now I saddle hunt a lot. I still sit some tree stands, but honestly, I really like being in the saddle. I don't know what it is. I'm more comfortable in the saddle than I am in a tree stand. It's kind of weird. I don't know what it is, but so I do enjoy being in the saddle. So I'm constantly working on that, making sure I've got everything set up how I need it, what I want to carry, and then just being able to get up in the tree fast and get set up, tear down fast. So working on that a lot. Yeah. So been doing that. Camera gear stuff, obviously, like I said, I'll talk about that in that video, but I am still running the same camera I've been running for the last 5 years, I think now, the Sony FX3. I still love it to death. It's the best compact camera you're going to buy for if you ever want to get serious filming. Now, I mean, Canon does have the R5, and I think they have the R5 Mark II now, and then they just came out with, I don't even know what it's called, but they had kind of some new Canon that's like basically the competitor to the FX3. But anyway, all great cameras. But if you're wanting top of the line stuff, you're going with something like that. Unless you're going to like a Sony FX6 or something big cinema, but that's too much. So I'm running that. I am running instead of a GoPro this year, because I lost my GoPro. I just bought a GoPro Hero 12 last year, and we went to St. George for our golf trip, and I somehow lost it. I think I lost it in TSA because I think they pulled it out of they pulled stuff out of my backpack and put it in the bins or whatever. And I'm pretty sure they must have stuck it in a different bin, and I didn't see it, and I lost it. So I lost my GoPro, which really sucked because I really did like that GoPro. It looked really good. Had really good video out of that one. So I ended up picking up the Insta360 Ace Pro. I actually really wanted that last time, but then I bought the GoPro instead. And so I found a really good deal on the Ace Pro. So I'm running that now. Still kind of going through some of the settings on that, trying to get that figured out. Looks good, and I like a lot of the features on it. It has a great low light feature, which GoPro does not have at all. So I did test that out, which was awesome. Normally, like with a GoPro, when you get to the last 30 minutes of legal light, you can't see nothing on a GoPro. This Ace Pro, when you go into low light mode, still looks great. So huge bonus. And especially for me, because for some reason, the only time I ever see good deer seems to be within the last 2 minutes of legal light. So that'll be very helpful. So I'm running that camera this year. Pretty excited about that. Otherwise, I did order some new climbing sticks. Yesterday, actually, I just ordered them. They will be coming hopefully sometime this week. Said they shipped today. So I'm going to be running the Hunt Arsenal Icon X20 sticks. I wanted these sticks last year. They were sold out, and then they revamped them and released them at ATA this year, and they're even better. So I'm super pumped for those sticks. Can't wait to get those this week. Going to do a full video on those too, just showing how good they are. Hopefully they're good. But yeah, pretty excited about those. That'll be, essentially what I'm running for when I'm doing any just, hanging hunts, public land. We're doing some public land stuff this year I'll talk about in a little bit. But yeah, and then also just even on our private stuff, like being able to just go get up in a different tree real easily and real quick. I'm just pretty stoked about that. We have other sticks that we've used. We've always used like those Hawk Helium ones and stuff like that, and they're fine, but they're not that great. And for carrying them in, it's just they're such a hassle. And so now I got these sticks, which are way more compact and way easier to hang and tear down. So I think that's going to help a lot with being more mobile and being a lot quicker. So pretty excited about that, to be able to put those to use and get those all set up with everything I got. So new boots. I might get some new boots this year. I'm still running these same boots I've had forever, these Browning boots, which is funny. They're Browning boots, but they're the best boots I've ever had. I've had them for like 10 years now. But they are getting kind of worn out. So I don't know. I might go get some new boots. Everybody always says Crispies or Kenetrex, and so I might go get a pair at some point. Don't tell my wife, but also tell me, should I do Crispies or Kenetrex? Because I don't know. Yeah. So last thing I was going to talk about, me and Ted are actually going on a public land hunt. We're doing essentially a 4-day public land hunt in an area we used to hunt. So we're going to go up there. Sound like I was Minnesotan. Yeah, we're going to go up there to, it's like kind of north central Nebraska, to an area we used to hunt. And there's actually quite a bit of public land up there. And we hunted a couple of those areas before, but we were always there for rifle. We were never there for bow. And when you get there for rifle, it started getting so busy. When I first started hunting there when I was young, it wasn't too bad, but by the time we quit hunting that area, there was just so many hunters there for rifle season. It was just out of control. But we're going to go out and bow hunt, and there's some really good big properties up there, and we've been checking out a bunch of onX, just seeing what else is around, and we find some really good stuff, and honestly, we're pretty excited about it. We don't have high expectations. It's not like we're like thinking we're going to show up and shoot a giant, but if anything decent walks along, shows up, we're going to kill it. So we're going to try to anyway. So pretty excited about that. That's going to be, that's October 23rd through the 26th. I think we're doing that. So it won't be a long trip, but we're just going to get there and go hard for 4 days and see what we can find. And we'll probably do a podcast afterwards for sure, talking about it and kind of giving you guys an update on what it was like hunting public land, because we've hunted some public a little bit in the area that we hunt in the southwestern area, just like for a sit or two, nothing like just hardcore public, but the areas that are there, they're smaller pieces. You're really just trying to get lucky, and so this will be fun because we get to do a little bit more and have a little more area we can cover and try and do a little bit more scouting and hopefully just get on a good one somewhere. It's kind of the hope. So yeah, pretty excited about that. That's part of the reason I got the sticks, was because I really wanted a good full mobile setup. So that way I can get in there, find some fresh sign, get up in a tree and call it good. Otherwise we might do some spot and stock, hopefully we'll be down to do whatever. We're just going to be kind of going all day and having fun with it. And, this will really be the first time that I've really done like a full public land hunt with a bow, I think. So had really good success with the rifle up there. Shot a lot of really good deer, but rifle's very different. You can shoot them in a lot further away. So yeah, pretty excited about that. And then we'll be rolling right into November pretty much after that. So be hopefully rolling right in the rut and see what shows up. And yeah, it's kind of about all I got for today. Yeah. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. It wasn't a very long episode, but wanted to get something out there and just kind of see where I was at and share some thoughts that I had, and appreciate you guys listening, and we'll catch you next time.